So I went back and I played Arkham Asylum again after hearing, the death of Kevin Conroy, the amazing Kevin Conroy. He was Batman. Every single game, every single animated series, he was the voice of Batman. Everyone knew him as the voice of Batman. It is a right shame of his passing. But I decided to go back and play Arkham Asylum again. And just straight off the bat, what an amazing intro to a game. Just this cutscene alone right here, just amazing. Like, there's so many games back in this era, like PS3, Xbox 360 era gaming, like Far Cry 3, Arkham Asylum, even Arkham City had an amazing intro. Like, all these games back in these days had these amazing intros. Like, some of the games had an amazing intro, and I find this common a lot. They had a good intro and then they just got boring when you actually are in the game. But Arkham Asylum isn't one of those games. This is amazing to the start to the end, and one iconic intro. Just, it's so simple. You're taking the Joker to this asylum and you're just walking through the corridor with him and this Hannibal Lecter kind of thing, and it's just so fucking iconic. It's such an interesting place to put a Batman game as well. Like, Rocksteady were destined to make a Batman game, because they really know the interesting parts and how to make it interesting. Like Arkham City, for example, like, who the fuck would have thought to put, I don't know if Arkham City is a place in the comics or if they made it up, but who would have thought to put a Batman game, based around a whole city that is a prison, and not just in Gotham like any other typical Batman game. Especially this, to put a Batman game based in Arkham Asylum. Like, it's just such an interesting place to set your game. And this game is wonderful. I don't think it's a one-to-one masterpiece. I do have my problems with this game, but we'll get into that later. I do think Arkham City is the better game, but Arkham Asylum is more nostalgic. Like, everything is iconic in this game. Like, even down to those little bells of the asylum, the dun 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 dun, like, iconic. Just hearing it, instantly that's from Arkham Asylum. And here's another thing, that this is actually from my gameplay, that I could actually record this game because it's a more modern game. I mean, no, really, it was like 2009, but this is the PS4 version. But I can actually fucking record it because it's not a fucking PS2 game, which I usually review. But here's this thing as well, I'm playing on the remaster PS4, what is it, Back to Arkham or something it's called, where you get Asylum and City. But the one thing I just don't appreciate is the amount of hate this got back in the day when this came out, like 2015 or something. I don't appreciate it. I think this is a pretty good remaster, and a lot of people shout on it when it came out, which I just don't agree with. This is a good remaster. Like, it really spices up the graphics, but it doesn't completely like demolish the old remnants of the graphics. So there's still you can still feel the nostalgia of the game because the graphics are still there, but enhanced a wee bit. Especially when you go outside of the asylum and you're in the rain, and you can see the rain pattering on Batman's cape. Like, you can see like the rain dripping down his cape and like splattering on it. And then when you go inside, there's little dry spots of rain. That is some really good shit, especially for like 2015, 16. It's pretty good. This is a good remaster, and I think it's widely hated for no reason, in my opinion. I know Kevin Conroy and Mark Hamill had been doing these characters way before Arkham Asylum ever came out. They'd done them in the animated series, but they could have not chosen any better actors to play these characters. These two are amazing. They were destined to play these characters. It's just, they're so good. Both of them equally so good as both their characters. Kevin Conroy is an amazing Batman. He's got this naturally deep, growly voice. And Mark Hamill is an amazing Joker, and he puts his all into it every fucking time. Like, he is an amazing voice actor. Like back in his Luke days of Star Wars and all that, like, he was alright as an actor, but he really matured into an actor when he started doing Joker. I'm gonna go into probably one more positive in the game, and then start talking about some of the things I have a problem with. But the Scarecrow sections of this game are brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Like, where it goes into a 2D perspective, and it's like a arcadey kind of thing. There's one section where you're like running away like it's like Crash Bandicoot. It's just really cool ideas. Rocksteady are so good at this. They really know how to make a fucking amazing game, you know. They really care about Batman, and they really care about that whole universe. It's not just some generic Batman game. Like, this is fucking some class shite. You know what I mean? This is like some fucking top tier Batman. Like, love that whole section, especially when Batman is hallucinating and he goes back and he's the one, Joker is driving him into the asylum. It's so fucking silly, and it's such a cool idea as well. Like, they're actually brilliant. Alright, now I'm gonna get into some negatives. The first one is boss fights. The boss fights in this game are just, nah, they don't do it for me. Especially revisiting it, like, the boss fights, they use the same generic Titan guys way too much, like way too much, especially towards the end of the game. And the Joker final boss battle, they use 2 of them. You have to fight them before you can even fucking fight himself. Like, there's a whole fucking thing where you're trapped and you have to fight about 20 of them. It's just, they are no good. They were never good, but they were acceptable towards the beginning of the game, because it's just, you know, it's the first boss thing, but they're just lame. They're a lame enemy. Another thing is the Bane fight, the Bane boss fight. Nah, that boss fight is he is literally just a Titan replacement. He's cool and all, but still, he's just a replacement for the normal Titan enemies. Like, there's nothing interesting. It's the same moves to beat him, to beat them. It's just such a boring thing. They could have done so much more with it. It's a boring arena as well. I like bosses. The types of bosses I like are like where it's not too hard, it's not too easy, but the arenas look so fucking cool. Like, that is the type of boss I like. But the Bane arena, you're just in some disgusting little circle, and it's the same moves you do for the fucking Titans. It's just such a lame fight. The Killer Croc section here as well, I think it's probably one of my favourite parts of the game, but it does get a bit stale towards the end there, you know. It's a bit too easy to knock him off, but I do think it's really cool though, and he is really, like, scary. Like, it really gets your heart going towards the start there, but he is a bit easy to beat, I think. And I think they should have had like a proper fight towards the end when he catches you or something. Have a proper Killer Croc fight, because this is basically the only time you ever get to see Killer Croc in the Arkham games. You get to see him once or twice in a DLC in Arkham Knight, and there's a cameo in City, but that's about it. I think he's in Origins, but we don't count that. He doesn't even look the same in Origins. He just looks like a typical lizard thing in Arkham Origins. I much prefer his look in these games. But yeah, I like the fight overall, but I do think he's a bit too easy to beat. And I think the best fight in this game by far is Poison Ivy. Like, she had the best boss fight by far. Like, there's multiple sections. The boss looks cool. The arena is cool. It's not too hard. It's not too easy. Like, it's just perfect. It's a good, brilliant boss fight towards the end of the game there. The Joker one isn't that good though, but this one is good. In Arkham City, they've really perfected their bosses, like Salman Grundy, Rich Al Ghul. Those bosses were amazing, but in this game it kind of falls a bit short, except from that Poison Ivy boss fight. And that's not even getting into the McFickness. Okay, it's not even getting into that. It's not even getting into the McFick of Poison Ivy. It is definitely a solid reason why it's my favourite. But other than that, this game is amazing. This game is nostalgic. It holds up. It is a brilliant game. It is just perfection. Like, I would give this game a solid 8 out of 10. 8.5 out of 10 because it's that good.